Operation Flashpoint, BattleTech 1721, by Fassa Books. Read by Shrapnel.
Planet Kaumberg, Lyran Alliance, Stuttgart City, 3063.
Lieutenant Reggie Martinez cast a brief glance at the angry crowd swirling around the feet of his grasshopper and muttered a curse under his breath.
"This is starting to look ugly,"
he said. The protesters seemed oblivious to the danger of the multi-ton battle mechs in their midst, content to chant their slogans and wave their banners of dissent from the shadows of the armoured giants in Stuttgart Central Park. To them, it was as though the mercenary battle mech company was not even standing there. Martinez cared little for their political gripes, but the proximity of so many citizens to his mech made him feel paralysed, unable to move without fear of killing an innocent beneath his armoured feet. And with the arrival of Baron Hasseldorf's troops in Stuttgart, that was a feeling the rookie lieutenant could do without.
"My sentiments exactly, Lieutenant."
The voice of Major Damon Kirkpatrick crackled into Martinez's ear.
"But you could try keeping the profanity off the TAC channels."
Martinez shook his head in disbelief. "We have rival families closing in on each other during a public demonstration, with us in the middle, and you're worried about my language?" he almost asked, but caught himself short. Instead, he cleared his throat and replied in his most professional tone.
"Aye, Major. My apologies, sir."
Making sure that his mic was switched off this time, Martinez unleashed another curse as he looked over at the Stuttgart skyline. To the north, against the backdrop of Mount Coleman and the classically designed castle perched atop it, a dozen battle mechs bearing the black-trimmed red colours of Baron Hasseldorf's families continued to approach. Rotating his torso to the left, Martinez saw the mechs from Baron Lasat's landhold marching their way into Stuttgart as well, all freshly painted in Steiner blue with white trim.
"Very ugly indeed."
Martinez muttered again.
"Captain!"
A new voice came over the tactical channels.
"Are we just going to let these guys march in here? This has all the makings of a gang war."
Reggie smiled. Glad somebody thought to ask that.
"It's their planet, Captain Holsteiner.
Kirkpatrick replied on the same frequency.
As long as they behave themselves, all we can do is remind them that we're the peacekeepers. Just keep an eye on them. I'll try to wave them off again."
"Oh, don't worry about that, sir."
Martinez saw the light on his comm panels change, indicating that Major Kirkpatrick's voice was now carrying over all frequencies.
"Attention, inbound mech forces. This is Major Damon Kirkpatrick of Kirkpatrick's Pack, representing the authority of the Kaumberg House of Lords. Your presence in Stuttgart is only going to make this situation worse than it is. Our unit and the city police have things well in hand. We do not require your assistance."
"This is Hauptmann Sean Obergas of the Gipfelsberg Defense Detachment."
Another voice interrupted. Martinez recognized the title of Lasat's officer, even if he could not place the name or the voice.
"We have come merely as observers. The citizens demonstrating today are patriotic nationals of the Lyran Alliance, and as fellow nationals we—"
"Stow it, you pompous ass."
Yet another voice interrupted. This one belonging to Heinrich Hasseldorf, Martinez knew. Reggie twisted his grasshopper around again to face the Hasseldorf's catapult as it carefully continued its march through Stuttgart.
"Stuttgart is part of my family's landhold, and your troops are not welcome here. Why don't you turn around and let the police handle this matter?"
"And trust our countrymen to traitors like your family, Hasseldorf?"
Obergast shouted.
"I think not."
"Shut up, both of you."
Major Kirkpatrick demanded.
"My pack is the designated peacekeeping force here. If you don't like it, take it up with the House of Lords. But in the meantime, I am ordering you to stand down and return to your respective bases."
The angry shouting picked up by Martinez's external mics diverted his attention to the crowd below once again. Either encouraged by the mech forces or simply brought to a boil after hours of bickering, the inevitable melee finally erupted. Citizens backing both the Hasseldorf families and Lasat's so-called nationalist line now clashed. Martinez could already see the police trying to break up the fighting, even as the mech forces of both families closed in on the park.
"This is all we need right now."
The mercenary lieutenant groused to himself. The riot became a panicked stampede a moment later when the sound of an autocannon fire suddenly rang out.
What the?
Martinez cried out as his eyes turned upward to see Major Kirkpatrick's flashman recover from the hit, its right flank armour scarred by blast craters.
Who did that?
Hold your fire! Hold your fire!
Someone shouted on the general frequencies, even as lasers flashed and missiles streaked from both sides of the park grounds. But even a rookie lieutenant like Reggie Martinez could see that the time for diplomacy was over. Welcome to Kaumberg and the FedCom Civil War, everyone. This event is following on from the surprise attack from a pro-Lyran noble who all but wiped out the High Lords and lit the fuse for the Civil War to happen on Kaumberg. Obviously the Civil War is happening, statewide, but apparently Kaumberg was pretty stable until this. Who knows whether it was a setup or whether it was actual assassination. It's a great little story when you read it and when you put it all together. So you can really put yourself in the shoes of the mech warriors who are separating these two sides. That little thin blue line. And all they're doing is keeping housewives, blue-collar workers, shift workers, mech pilots and their murder machines apart. Kaumberg had an interesting setup where the Lyran and the Steiner houses, there was one of each on the planet, had half of the defense force each. And you can guess the outcome of that when it all kicked off. Planet devastation. Cities destroyed, population slaughtered, export business destroyed, everything up in fire. Apparently, several decades after, when it all got sorted out, they never got above 75% of their original exports. So, really had their ass handed to them. I always wonder which side Kirkpatrick's pack decided to go on, but that's the great thing about Operation Flashpoint. It's one of the first ones where you can run the campaign from the mercenaries' point of view, and they can pick or be forced into a side. I've just picked up one of the new starter boxes, my first mech minis in 20 years, and this has instantly gone on my playlist. I'm sure we can bring it up to date with new rules and stuff, but I'm going to love to see how they do, because I don't know. Do you want to take on a hatchet man? Do you, the old Steiner Scout Lance? Cliche, I know, but scary. Anyway, that's all we've got time for now. If you enjoyed this, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want YouTube to do the heavy lifting of when new videos come out, which is hopefully once a week on Friday, then hit the bell icon. If you don't like this, there's that other button. I will see you all next week for another tale, and as ever, if there is anything you want to hear or something you want to recommend, then drop a comment below and I'll get back to you and we'll see what we can do. Stay safe, everyone. I've been Shrapnel. Bye.